Very good morning once again, all the students, and this is the second part of your first chapter of geography, that is resources and development. So today we are going to discuss about certain very important resources without which life on earth would not have been possible. And we are going to talk about degradation that is taking place with reference to those resources, and also the conservation steps that must be taken in order to conserve those important resources. So first you are going to understand about land resources. Land as a resource. Now you can just well imagine yourself that how important land is as a resource. We need some platform to stand first of all, and then only we can practically bring any other aspiration of human beings into practice. In order to give a concrete form to your dreams and your plannings in mind, we first need land as a resource. So land as a resource is of immense importance, and we need to discuss about this at length. You know that there are several economic activities that goes on the land surface. That is, we are living on the earth surface, human beings are living on the earth surface. Our construction, each and every activity is concentrated. Transport, communication is mainly concentrated on the land. So land as a resource is very, very important, and it has a finite magnitude. Therefore it is very important to use this available resource in a very planned and judicious manner. But you know that there is a lot of land degradation that is taking place. Well, we will talk about that later. First of all, let us understand the nature of physiography of our country. This land distribution is uneven over the earth's surface. Similarly, this land distribution and the usage of the land as a resource depends upon the physiography of the area. So if we talk about the physiography of our own country, you can see from the pie diagram which is given on page number 5, figure 1.3, you can see there is percentage of different landform features present on the in our country, that is given over here. That is 43% is in the form of plains, 30% as mountains, and plateaus consist 27%. So definitely on the basis of the physiography of our country, the activities are going to be determined. Wherever there is a difficult terrain, there the activities will be different as compared to the plain topography. Whereas the economic activities will also be depending upon the physiography of that particular region. For example, you can take, as I have already given you this example previously also, you can consider the example over here with reference to the physiographic difference of the northern plains, that is the plain area that provides you the suitable agricultural belt, whereas the plateau region, which is rich in the mineral wealth, therefore the industries are more concentrated in that region. So land use depends upon various factors, and the physiography being the most important aspect. The second aspect related to this topic further is land utilization. How the land is being put to various uses. What are the different uses that is being derived out of that particular piece of land? So there are various purposes which the land is serving, and this classification is again given on your page number 5. You can see from here that land resources are used for following purpose. Number 1 is forest. Very, very important aspect, forest, because they helps in regulating the climate of a area. It helps to maintain the ecological system of the area. It balances the natural life on the earth's surface. Second is the land which is not available for cultivation. And what is the reason for why it is not available for cultivation? That is because it is barren land, it is wasteland, and land which is put to non-agricultural uses such as building, roads, factories, etc. Now, because India is an agriculture country, that does not mean that entire land can be devoted to agriculture. There are various other activities which is ultimately going to take place on the land. So this land which is not put to agriculture is considered as wasteland, because it is being occupied by the constructional activities, infrastructure development, etc., building road, factories, etc., settlements and all. So these are classified under the category of land which is not available for cultivation. Third category in this reference we have is uncultivated land, excluding the fallow land. We are not including fallow land into this category. So what is this uncultivable land? Number one is the permanent pasture. Pasture means the land which is used to grow fodder for the animals. Fodder for the animals. Or they are kept as grazing land. Obviously, if they are being used as the fodder land or the grazing land, in that case it cannot be used for agricultural purposes. B is land under miscellaneous uses like tree, crops, groves, which are not included in the net zone area. And third is culturable wasteland, which is left uncultivated for more than 5 agriculture year. That can be, this is the third category, which includes uncultivated land excluding the fallow land. The fourth category in this is fallow land. Now this is the fallow land. Current fallow, which is left fallow for less than 1 year. And then we have other than current fallow land, which is kept uncultivated for the period of 1 year to 5 years. Fallow land which is for less than 1 year, and fallow land which is for 1 year to 5 years. The last category in land utilization is net sown area. This is obviously very economically productive area because it includes the area that is sown more than once in an agriculture year, plus the net sown area that is going to give us the gross cropped area of our. This is the land utilization pattern, which means that land is used for various purposes. Some land is to be used for agriculture, some does not permit agriculture because of its natural physiography, such as desert or the very difficult mountainous region or the snow-capped areas, which cannot be used for agriculture purposes. It is not included into the net zone area. Then the land which is also considered waste because it is barren, or it may be used for constructional activities, even that is considered as wasteland. So this is the land utilization pattern. Then we are going to see the land use pattern in India. Land use pattern in India. Now we are going to come across different. First thing we need to understand is that why the land use pattern varies from one region to another. So the answer to that is that there are various factors which is going to determine the land utilization of an area. Is number one, physical factors such as topography, climate, soil type. Then we have human factors such as population, density, technological capability, and the cultural and tradition. These are some factors that will ultimately determine the land use pattern of that particular region. Topography includes climate, soil, and the relief of the land, whether it is undulating land or it is a uniform topography, that will determine the agricultural or any other activity for that matter. Secondly, human factors such as if any particular region is highly densely populated area that cannot be used for agriculture purposes, that will be developed from other point of views. Secondly, the technical know-how of the area is another determinantal factor which is going to determine the land use pattern. So total geographical area in India is 3.28 million square kilometer. Land data, however, is available only for 93% of the total geographical area. This is because, what does it say? That only 93% data, 93% land area has been surveyed. This is because the extremely mountainous region towards the northeastern states of our country, which are very remote region, and it does not allows the elaborate surveys to take place. And other regions which are not included in this area is the area or the area which was lying in the territorial disputes between India and Pakistan, areas lying in Jammu and Kashmir region. Therefore, we do not have the land use pattern of entire India. We have only of 93% of the land that is present in our country. The next thing which you need to understand over here is that land use pattern has also changed because land pattern pastures has also decreased. Due to the ever increasing population, there is high demand of the land which is required for various purposes, and therefore because human beings are kept at at priority, the land which is under the pasture is also decreasing. Therefore, now the question arises that how the animals are going to be fed ultimately. So these activities are also going on reducing. Most of other than current fallow lands, which the area which is not available for agriculture, the fallow land, that is not used for agriculture purpose because either it is not of good quality, the soil is not of good quality, or cultivating in these area is a expensive and tedious task. Hence these lands are cultivated only once or twice in the year, and if this area, the fallow land, is also to be included in the net sown area, then the percentage of net sown area in India can go up to 54% from 46.24%. So remarkable changes can occur with reference to that part. The pattern of net sown areas vary greatly from one state to another. Now this is another important aspect which you need to understand, that the pattern of net sown area varies from one state to another. It is not necessary that the entire state is or entire country is following the same land utilization pattern. It depends upon, as we have already discussed, it depends upon the physiography of that area. Now, for example, more of the agriculture is taken up in the northern India. Therefore, more of the land is devoted to agriculture. Whereas towards the southern India, less of the agricultural activities are taking place, whereas more of industrial activities are taking place in the southern part of India. Very, very important aspect which you must understand over here is the forest cover. Forest cover in the country is far more lower than the desired percentage of 33%. It is important to have 33% of the forest cover in our country so as to maintain the ecological balance of that particular region. Presently in India, as per the report of 2019, we have it is 21.27% of the land area is under the forest cover. So there is dire need of increasing the forest cover of our country. It is considered essential for maintaining the ecological balance. Then the part of land is termed as wasteland and the land put to non-agriculture uses. The wasteland includes rocky surface, arid areas, desert area, highly forested and the difficult terrain, which are put to non-agriculture uses, which include settlement, road, railways, industries, etc. Continuous use of the land over and over again, and numerous activities are going on the land surface, which has further led to deterioration of the quality of the land. The next topic which we have is land degradation and conservation measures. So because of all these activities that is taking place on the land surface, on the earth surface, definitely because of the overuse of the resources, the degradation is bound to occur. So on page number 7 of your textbook, you can see a pie diagram which is given in figure 1.5, and there is a percentage given according to which you can analyze that there are various different methods of degrading the land. Either it is natural or these are man-made. So from the percentage you can draw an inferences that water eroded areas is 56%, forest degraded land is 28%, 6% is saline and alkaline land, and wind eroded area is 10%. So this is deteriorating the condition and quality of the land, whether they are natural activities or the man-made activities. In both the cases, the consequences is the land degradation. And land degradation varies from one state to another. In one particular region, now there can be a specific question which can be asked from this portion. Mention different types of land degradation that is caused in different states. So here you can see that because Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha lie mainly in the industrial belt region of our country, therefore mining activities are responsible for degrading the land over here. After excavation work, these sites are abandoned and they causes lot of damaging to the land surface. Mining causes severe land degradation. Secondly, in states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, overgrazing is one another factor which is responsible for land degradation. Overgrazing causes uprooting, which helps the soil to get loose and it gets easily washed away with any of the agents of denudation. Further, in the states of Punjab and Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, there is over-irrigation taking place, which is responsible for land degradation due to water logging. When lot of water is supplied into the field, it leads to over-irrigation and ultimately some part of that water is lost through evaporation, whereas major part of the water is not retained by the crop because it is over irrigated. So in that case, it ultimately leads to water logging. And when the water logging takes place, the soil turns into alkaline or saline. This increases or disbalances the chemical composition of the soil. Therefore, we have to keep a check on our activities and we have to conserve land as a resource. Another important aspect is the mineral processing like grinding of limestone and cement industry, calcite and soap stains for ceramic industries generate huge quantity of dust. When the mining activities are done, it causes lot of pollution, and the dust which rises due to these activities, they ultimately settles on the earth's surface, which causes a blockage on the upper surface of your soil. And thus, either it is when the rainfall is going to take place, the water is going to percolate into the lower layers, it will carry away all that dust along with that. So ultimately this pollution reaches to your underground water, which is ultimately going to reach for us for the drinking purposes, and therefore there are various health hazards which are attached to these types of activities. So it is very, very important, as we have seen, that large scale land degradation is taking place. Somewhere it is due to wind, somewhere it is due to alkalinity and salinity, somewhere it is due to forest, and somewhere it is due to water eroded. So whatever is the reason, but ultimately the land is being degraded. Therefore it is very important to conserve land as a resource. So these are some steps which have been mentioned in your last paragraph of this topic. Very clearly it has been mentioned. You can take down these points from here. This question can be asked from 5 marks point of view. What are the steps which can be taken in order to conserve the forest or the land from degradation? So what are important steps which are mentioned over here is, number 1, afforestation. Afforestation means growing large scale trees. Proper management of the grazing land. Overgrazing should be avoided. Fodder is very important for the animals, but overgrazing should be avoided so that the roots does not get uprooted and the soil may not get loose and it cannot be carried away easily. Then planting of the shelter belts. Shelter belts should be planted so that it acts as a natural barrier. Then we have control over overgrazing. This we have already done. Stabilization of the land dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods to check land degradation. Now, growing shelter belt is one, and second is that sand dunes, the extension, desertification. This is another important problem that we are facing these days. Desertification means increasing of the desert area. Sand get easily carried away with the wind. Therefore, it is very important that on the marginal areas or the fringes, some thorny bushes or some kind of vegetation is to be grown so that the extension of the deserts can be stopped. And proper activities, proper discharge of the disposal, industrial effluents, wastewater treatment, all these factors can help largely in reducing the degradation of the land, and land can be protected as an important resource.